SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Just a couple weeks away from Oshawa Generals and Steve Dangle Podcast Night.
Yo,
that's right, guys.
Hey, put down my stuffy.
Yeah, we got that too.
Hurt. Other Steve. I couldn't come up with a good nickname.
That's U2's Steve, which you can buy right now. Use twos can own a stuffy Steve. You know?
Do it.
Oshawa Generals, Steve Dangle Podcast Night. We're going to be doing a show. We're going to be watching the game with you. Everybody is going to be in the same section. And by the way, it is Oshawa versus Peterborough.
Yeah.
Known as one of the greatest rivalries in junior hockey. So it's going to be great. And Ben Danford's going to be there. Hi,
Ben Danford.
He's going to be playing.
He's going to be at the game.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I said. He's going to be there playing.
Yeah, well, there's other things happening around the event, and we're going to have somebody else there, right?
Special co-host Ben Danford.
No.
Dan Benford.
No, that's
Getting
not
in
happening.
Let's go there, Dan
But there
Benford.
could be a surprise guest.
Yeah.
Just put it that way.
Yeah.
We'll just put it that way. By the way, puck drop is 6:05. The SDP show will start at 9:30, and we'll just have a good old time. So make sure that you join us. And by the way, I had somebody message me yesterday on Instagram. They're like, "Hey, I can't find it." I'm like, well, it's pretty easy. It's underneath the YouTube video, so check it out. It's also on the Apple and Spotify descriptions as well.
What else?
Yeah, the thing you were consuming the podcast on, if you hit the description, it's right there. Wherever you are.
Some of you. You ask for things that I'm not convinced you looked yourself. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. It's okay. We all need help sometimes. You know? Adam, you ever ask your wife where something is?
Oh, yeah.
But you haven't begun looking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. That's fine.
No, not always. Sometimes I think people find it quite annoying.
Yeah, well. And also Steve's U2s that Jesse is fond of stealing from Steve. They're available.
He munched on the butt.
No, it's just whenever it's yours, whenever you purchase one, you can take it home. You can have whatever kind of fun you want to have with it.
Yeah, you can cuddle it.
It's
yours. All sorts of things.
It's yours. We don't come to your house and tell you what to do with your dolls.
That's right.
It's not our business.
That sure isn't.
No,
Sure isn't. Now,
purchase a Steve and have fun.
later on this episode, we're going to have Matt Sundin.
What?
Which
Yes.
we're all very excited about. Matt's is doing...
This is the only podcast he's doing.
No, he's not doing
In
any
all
other
of
show.
hockey. There are none. Don't Google it. It's just this one.
So we got a Matt Sundin interview coming up a little bit later in the show. I think it only is right and fair and honestly, I don't think you can ignore this story. The Blue Jackets played their home opener yesterday and did a lot of things about as well as you can do them. Starting with the Johnny Gaudreau 5.5 minute tribute video, Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau, excuse me. And I have to say, I said to Steve and Jesse a couple hours before that, I'm like, I don't think I can watch this. Like I'm one of those guys that like intentionally avoids emotional television. So I watched.
You should work through that.
I know. I watched it. And I could not believe how good that reel was, that 5 minutes and 30 seconds. It was amazing.
So my introduction to it was I was at the book signing while it was going on, and I read in the CJ Show group chat, and everyone's basically like, I don't know how they're going to play a game after this.
Yeah.
And then my wife, who did see it, described it to me, and I'm like, I'm not watching that. I can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get it. Some people can, some people can't. I watched it. I'll tell you, it's worth it.
I
It's
saw
amazing.
parts of it.
Yes.
The strength of their family to just walk out there and when they're raising the jersey to the rafter and all that, and it's such a, like, I don't know how they're able to like stand and just be there in front of everybody.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Yes.
You know, the strength to do something like that.
Yeah.
So, so there was that.
Strength of Sean Monahan to play a game after
Yep.
that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
And then, so the teams, obviously the Blue Jackets put 4 guys on the ice, and there was a spotlight where Johnny would have been. The first 13 seconds ticked off the clock in honor of Johnny. Both teams observed that. It will be on the score sheet forever. That 13 seconds, which I thought was really, really cool. And obviously, I think the best moment of the night was Sean Monahan scoring and pointing directly at the rafters.
Love that.
It was cool. It was cool. And honestly, I think Pete Blackburn tweeted, he's like, yeah, Monahan was a lock for a goal tonight. Yeah, he had to score. Like, that's going to happen. It has to.
Did you see the face-off stat? No. He was something like 20 for 26.
Oh.
Which is or 21 or something. I want to say he like tied a Blue Jackets record or something like that for faceoffs won in a game.
Wow.
Or faceoff percent. Like he went off. Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Yeah. So it was a beautiful way to pay tribute to Johnny and Matthew and obviously their family as well. And I thought, man, okay, so this was emotional. The game between Columbus and Calgary in early December is going to be, I think it's going to be, might be double, right? Because you got both teams, right? And I think that's the part of this that is going to be, when we talked about the story, I think in September, it was sort of like, well, we know we're going to have to follow this for a while. And I look at Johnny and Matthew's family, and Jesse, you mentioned it a second ago, to go through deaths like that and then have to, I guess they had a choice to not, but then to go and participate in the memory of their partner. I think it's tremendous. And I think then I look at this Calgary-Columbus game and they're going to have to go, or they may have to go and do it again. And maybe there's some joy in that, but I can't imagine it's easy.
It happened absurdly recently.
Yeah.
Like at this point, like what are we talking, 6 weeks?
Oh man, not even maybe. I don't, yeah.
Yeah. And like, I was going to say at some point you're going to want to stop. Maybe you don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like everyone processes everything a little differently. I don't know how you handle that one. The face-off stat that I butchered, this is from Aaron Portsline. How dialed was Sean Monahan last night? He won 20 of 26 face-offs, tied for the second most face-offs single game in franchise history. Per the NHL, only Sammy Paulson, 21 in 2009 versus Anaheim, has won more.
Wow.
So he went off. He had, one of the best face-off nights in Blue Jackets history, and he scored a goal.
I remember Sammy Paulson. I'd forgotten about that.
I loved Sammy Paulson. He was a real key part of that 07 Ducks run.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, really good player.
Good defensive set.
And the Blue Jackets themselves and what they did with Nationwide Arena just for the night, like they did an incredible job putting up tributes throughout the entire arena and allowing fans to continue the memorials that they've been leaving for the Gaudreau family. So I thought that was really well done overall by the organization. And they're also selling shirts and pucks that 100% of proceeds go to charity. So I thought the Blue Jackets did a fantastic job overall for the entire night.
The Love You Johnny chants were very cool too. So well done to the Columbus Blue Jackets organization. Just a really touching tribute. Done so well. It's so hard to do those tributes. It's so hard. So to pull it off the way that they did and you said, Steve, what was it? It was right before camp. It might've been 4 weeks ago. So to be able to pull that off, plan that out, and have I don't think we've ever seen that in NHL history where four guys get on the ice and they let the clock tick for 13 seconds. Like, the planning and I guess the way that they've honored this guy, I don't know, just was blown away. Really was.
And like classy of the Panthers.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
Like
of course.
Not that they wouldn't do it, but like they don't have quite the same connection, obviously.
Well, Matthew Tkachuk's on
there are players on the Panthers, obviously Bennett as well, and there might be others, but this is kind of a uniquely Calgary Columbus thing, or at least as the focal point. So for them to take a proactive role in it was, it's the epitome of class,
and
right?
They both wore the Gaudreau jerseys during warm up. Like
Yep.
both teams did that, and I think it's because it's a hockey story. It affected the entire community of hockey, not just each team or the people that knew Gaudreau. It was the entire hockey world and the entire sporting world as a whole. Like you saw international coverage of this at every moment. It's just going to continue throughout the season as it's deserved to, because the lasting memory needs to go on of the impact that the Gaudreaus had on hockey.
Absolutely.
I haven't wrapped my head around it.
Yeah, no,
Like
it's difficult.
It was not a reminder, but like I haven't processed that he's gone, and seeing the clips that I did, which was obviously not all of them, I was still having difficulty. Like, what do you mean he's not here? You know, like there's just a underlying.
It still feels unbelievable that this tragedy happened.
Yeah, and like I said, it just happened.
Yep.
Basically, like a month.
First week of
Crazy.
September. Yeah.
Yep. So Monahan scoring, that was beautiful, and obviously we're going to continue to follow this as it goes. But I thought it would be a good transition to, because these are always tough subjects to transition out of. I thought it would be a good transition to talk about the Calgary Flames. And the Calgary Flames, ladies and gentlemen, don't look now. They're 4-0. And Craig Conroy, this is according to Pierre LeBrun on Insider Trading with, I don't know, some guy named Chris Johnson. You ever heard of him?
No.
Yeah. Anyway, LeBrun
Is he related to Mike?
said on Insider Trading that guys like Uyghur, Coleman, Gaudreau, those are guys that are not going to be sold off. They recognize, as some bottoming out teams do not, that you're going to need to have guys around that are veteran guys, that when the new guys come in, there's going to need to be a turnaround, and there's going to need to be some veteran presence in the room. And Gaudreau was on the other side of this in Toronto.
Yes.
Knows what it's like. And I think to a lesser extent, so does Mackenzie Weegar and Blake Coleman, because, you know, Mackenzie Weegar was on some bad Panthers teams and then some good Panthers teams.
Well, and Coleman's a double cup champ, right?
Exactly. So you want that. And I just thought, what a difference from a year ago. Now, whenever Craig Conroy says, I'm not gonna,
He's about to.
I have a hard time believing it. Now, why? Let's talk about last season and put that into context a little bit.
Sure.
So.
Just they were in every trade rumor. And
they started the year off going, we're not selling.
Yeah, we're not selling and we're not doing this. And I don't know where this is coming from. Zadorov's agent traded Zadorov to the Leafs.
Yeah.
And Craig Conroy said, alas not. He marched to the beat of his own drum. It feels like a couple things. And I wonder which one it is truly. The Flames were horrible last year, obviously. They shouldn't have been that horrible. They shouldn't have been. Playoff team, they should at least be in the hunt. They weren't in the hunt. So what is this 4-0 start? Is this a regression to the mean, and this is closer to what they actually are? Mm-hmm. Or is it the season just got away from them as it gets away from a team sometimes? Every year, there's a team that stumbles out of the gate a little bit, and then they hit a rut, and when they hit a rut, they cannot get themselves out of it. I think it was Philly a few years ago, won 10 straight games, and then they hit a rut, and they missed the playoffs entirely. Like, you're just spinning your tires. Did that happen to the Flames last year? And is this hot start going to cure what ails them? And it was just a mindset thing and everything's going to be fine. You know who else had that? The Jets. We were talking about the Winnipeg Jets like they were going to sell off. They were going to completely strip the car.
Yeah.
Down to the frame.
Yep.
And they doubled down on the core in basically every way, shape, and form. And look at them. They're good. They're good. They've had strong regular seasons. Okay, playoffs not so much, but they've had strong regular seasons, and they're obviously a team that they shouldn't have sold on.
Right.
Maybe that's what the Flames are.
Right. Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
Ish.
Well,
I'm still not sold on the goaltending, but
yeah.
We'll see.
Well, and I look at say, a guy like Jonathan Huberdeau. 6 points in 4 games, Jonathan Huberdeau. 3 goals.
Well,
Oh man, how about that? Listen, I don't think Flames fans are upset about that contract if that's the pace he's going to score at this year.
I'm subscribed to this newsletter that updates me daily on how well Jonathan Huberdeau. Oh no, that's just Alan texting. No, that's just Alan texting.
Jesse, what are you looking at?
Just the Flames lines and where he's sitting right
So
now.
where do you, when you look at the Flames, is this, I mean, listen, it's the first 10 games. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to have fun stories like this. Their strength of schedule, I mean, they just beat the Blackhawks. They beat the just awful Edmonton Oilers, who are next up on the what's going on in the NHL, the Flyers, and the Canucks. So the first game, Canucks, that's a good team.
Yes.
Beat them 6-5. They are missing their starting goaltender.
Yeah, they don't know that yet. They don't know that they're good.
They haven't figured that out
They
yet.
forgot.
The Flyers, not great team. Oilers, not playing like a great team.
Dude.
Blackhawks, understandably not a great team. So I don't know. They're not. They seem not to have like the Kraken should be good. That's who they're playing next on Saturday.
Okay.
Then they're going to play the Penguins, who are mid.
Are we talking about the Flames or the Oilers?
The Flames.
Oh, okay.
And then they're going to play the Hurricanes, who are good, and then the Jets, who are very good.
We're going to find out what they are pretty quick. I love this Pospisil kid. Jesse has the lineup right now.
Yeah. The line combination.
The line combination. Sorry,
all good.
yesterday was a very long day.
Yeah.
I sometimes there needs to be a master and sensei sort of thing, and Pospisil seems to really enjoy the role of shithead, and sharing a locker room with Nazem Kadri, you are about to get a hell of an apprenticeship. You're gonna figure it out, and you're gonna be a nightmare for years to come, young man. I like that guy.
Yeah, they've been searching for a center that'll unlock Huberdeau for the last few years since he's gotten there, really. And Pospisil might be the guy. Like, they might have found some sort of magic there with Huberdeau. So, like, you keep running this out. Like, there's no complaints right now from the Calgary Flames, and this might be a thing that works this season because Calgary wasn't as bad as they were on the standings chart as they were last year.
Yeah.
You know, their underlying numbers were decent. They were a lot better than it looked on paper.
Can you scroll up just a tad?
Sure.
Just so we can have the fourth line on screen. I need to know if Matt Coronado has a nickname. And the reason I need to know that is their fourth line might be the best nickname line in the NHL. Because Ryan Lomberg is the Lamborghini, that's elite. It's top
Great
five.
name. Yeah.
Top five. But Justin Kirkland,
Got to be Costco.
it's Costco.
Yeah, got to be.
His nickname is Costco. And that guy who I think was drafted second round 2014 just scored his first NHL goal. Like one of the better stories of the opening week. You know, there's always that, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
And who the hell is that guy? Finally makes an NHL team. He's played a couple cups of coffee in the NHL. And he finally gets his first goal. There's some great vibes going on in Calgary right now.
Yeah.
They're having a really good time. Just ride it, man. Ride it.
The thing, too, is they're doing all this without Sharon Govich, who had found some pretty good chemistry with Huberdeau at the end of the season last year.
Every team in the NHL, almost every team in the NHL, could conceivably make the playoffs if everything goes right.
Right, and then it never does.
No.
Which is why we default to teams that have depth.
Except for the Ducks.
Except for the Ducks.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Flames are not, I mean, to me, one of those teams that can survive an injury like that and be okay. To go 4-0 without this guy is, that's pretty good.
You like that?
That's pretty good. I didn't think they were capable of it.
Now, on the other side of this is the Edmonton Oilers, who,
Man,
they look like last year's Edmonton Oilers.
like frustrated, undisciplined, disconnected. That Draisaitl cross check on, I don't remember who it was.
I mean, they won.
I mean, I wonder if being cup or bust. I mean, okay, I think there's a couple things with them. The complete cup or bust mentality. Last year, you learned you can have a terrible start and get away with it.
Yeah.
And also, they're still, like, one thing I think their cup run made us lose sight of is they are deeply flawed. They're still, like,
They're perhaps more flawed this year than they were last year.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
say, on defense.
dude, crazy depth up front that somehow got better. It's not fair. It's not normal. It's not okay. They're going to rip shit up this year, assuming they get some like moderate health. They're going to be monstrous. It's a house of horror back there.
Well,
It's, dude, outside of Ekholm and Bouchard, that's a world of hurt. It's not good.
You guys were making fun of that Connor stat, but Connor Brown scored, making him the fourth Connor to score in an Edmonton Oilers game before Connor McDavid.
That's psychotic. That's
So
insane.
you know what? You guys thought, how is it on the deserved to interesting meter now?
Oh, I think it's up to a 4.
Okay.
Maybe
Oh, come on.
no. You're right. That's a 6. That's a 6.
Thank you.
Passing
Jesse, do you
grade.
agree?
Not really.
What? There's 4 Connors that have scored in Edmonton Oilers games in 4 games.
You just sound
and
like
none of them are Connor McDavid.
You sound like a Bleacher Report open ice graphic.
So
Like,
what?
Damn.
Okay.
So what? They do numbers, Jesse. They do numbers.
Thanks, tips.
You know what?
Fine.
You know what? They do numbers.
They do numbers, okay? No hate on them.
But it's good. But it's cheap. But
All right.
it's good.
You know what? Fine.
Fine.
I'll just be over here. I won't say anything. I won't bring up any more Connor stats.
No, they've just been like really easily rattleable. You know?
What do you think that is?
Uh
Like,
Well-
I look at Troy Stetcher, who dressed yesterday.
yeah.
Did not play in the run very much at all. Like, was leapfrogged by, like, Phil Broberg.
I know a lot of people like that guy. Like, does he make most NHL rosters?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
So, and then you've got, your Ekholm Bouchard, Darnell Nurse, Stetcher. Like, that Ekholm Bouchard is insane. That's an insane first pairing.
Great, awesome.
Darnell Nurse, Troy Stetcher.
Madone.
Brett Kulak, Ty Emberson. And Ty Emberson, they're high on, but he's 22.
Like, I think there was also a weird amount of turnover there. And we expect them to score 1 billion goals, but, like, they're not going to yet. Mm-hmm. Jeff Skinner's got to settle in. Victor Arvidsson's got to settle in. Stetcher basically didn't play with the team. Emberson is new. There's, Henrique's role, I assume, is changing because you're no longer rental guy. You're here for the long haul guy. That also goes with Corey Perry. You're adjusting to life without Evander Kane, who, even though he's playing hurt, they did have. And I'm also just not convinced they're healthy. So I think that's what's going on. And this falls on Chris Knobloch to get their heads on right and be like, guys, I know you can't win the cup right now, right this second, but I need you to, I was going to say dig in.
Dig the fuck in.
I don't think McDavid loves that clip.
Well, he should. It's fucking awesome.
He should. It's fucking awesome, but people are using it against him slowly.
Oh,
but surely.
stop.
He
He should stay off social media.
He's got to find a way to make the beginning of the school year interesting.
Right.
If that
Yeah,
makes
and
sense. You can't just cram for the exam.
I know there's some guffaws about Troy Stetcher being in the lineup and all that fun stuff, but I think last night he had a serious impact on the game, and it wasn't through anything hockey related. He fought, who was it? I wanted to look up and see who he fought. It was Sean Couturier when he fought him late in the third period, midway through. After that, the Oilers came together and scored a couple goals, and they won the game.
That's such a weird fight.
It's stupid that these things have an impact on hockey players who should be up for every game because you are a professional athlete being paid millions of dollars to play in this game. You shouldn't need extra motivation from Troy Stetcher fighting Sean Couturier, but it seemed to work.
It's human nature.
Stetcher
right?
and Corey Perry both fought. Like, those are two guys who are vets who know this team needs some sort of motivation. Leon Draisaitl's being an idiot, taking cross checks, and he's getting benched, and we fought a couple guys, and now they're kind of rejuvenated. They go on to win the game.
With Draisaitl, it's nice that he's like, okay, I'm going to take initiative here. But I think someone's got to look down the bench and be like, Leon shouldn't be in the box right now. Someone else has got to be doing it. And they got big old goon Troy Stetcher gooning it up. Oh, wait, sorry. He's 5'10", 184 pounds.
Yeah, there's a guy who's not Matt Rempe sized, who's like, I'm going to take this into my own hands along with Corey Perry and get these guys remotivated. And the Draisaitl thing, like, Draisaitl shouldn't be doing that. Like, there's a reason Knobloch benched him for the cross check. And after that, him and Connor set up Bouchard for the game tying goal. He scores the overtime winner. Like, everything's kind of like, okay, turning a page here. And it's after we have this mess. I don't know if it's rock bottom, but they have a mess mid-game.
Well,
and by the end of it, everything's good because they got the 2 points. Like, Edmonton's kind of coming up by the end of everything.
When I went to bed, Mitchkov had scored, and the goal counted, and they were losing.
Right.
And I was like, I might be waking up to rock bottom. When I saw they won, they got the OT winner, I saw it.
Yeah.
Oh, man, poor Sammy Urson. I stopped McDavid on a break. Fuck.
I still don't think in any normal circumstance Urson should be starting for the Flyers on a regular basis. Like, it's crazy that he's still in there, but like that's what happens when you have the two best players on planet Earth. You know, by the time this thing is over, they might have turned it around, and they did halfway through the game. Well, really in the third period, and they get the 2 points.
I'm glad they won because I think there might have been a riot of just blue and orange outside of NHL headquarters. Yeah. Like for like goalie interference challenges. If there's any team where I'm like, yeah, no, you have free reign to complain about every goalie interference challenge ever, it's the Oilers. I'm still not over 2017. I'm right there with you. That was stupid.
I think it's 4 now they've had goals overturned.
Yeah, and Mitchkov's counted.
Right.
Yeah.
So does Mitchkov count in that? Like, is it just challenges failed?
I don't know.
Either way.
I don't know.
Either way, that kid looks like a problem. Holy shit. But if they had lost that game, I think we're having a much more stern conversation.
Yeah.
The Edmonton Oilers.
I think it's still so early. You pull this one out, you grit through it where you probably shouldn't have won this game, which is a positive sign moving forward for the rest of the week. You know, like
Absolutely.
it's a good thing here that they were able to pull it through. And
It is
they'll
stupid
win
things,
games like
Jesse. It's stupid things that galvanize you. It can be a fight.
it could be you too.
Absolutely, it could be you too.
They can say you can't go to a U2 concert and all of a sudden you win 13 straight games or whatever it was.
Yeah, they could say you're shit in the playoffs in arbitration, and then all of a sudden, bam, there you are.
Yeah.
Last year, we were ready to riot because the Leafs let the Bruins push them around. And who got in the first fight after that to say, screw it, I'm done with this bullshit? We were in the building for it. The oldest player in the National Hockey League, Mark Giordano.
Yes.
He fought Dakota Joshua, which is actually
That's insane.
That's a terrible
bit of a
mismatch.
mismatch. Yeah, it's terrible.
Not to bring it back to the Leafs, but I'm slowly learning like Ryan Reeves is kind of important to this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like we harp on Matthews and Marner and Nylander and Riley even because of their lack of that part of the game, the thing that Reeves brings to the locker room. So just there's a reason they keep people like him and Jason Spezza when he was here for a long time. He was kind of that guy. There's a reason these guys have jobs and they're also competent NHL players.
I think we've always known the role that Reeves plays and how important it is. It's important to note he was especially bad when he was scratched. People weren't like, he doesn't bring value. They were like, we know exactly what his value is, and he's just a decided net negative every time he's on the. It was like every game they were getting scored on. It was brutal. This year, they're down 1-0 with him on the ice, but the expected goals is crazy.
The fourth line, like just
analytical darling, Ryan Reeves.
Watching the game and the underlying numbers, the fourth line looks fabulous. In Toronto.
They're fine.
Yeah,
they're fine. So I think people are. They're on board.
Right. There's a point where you're so bad on the ice that whatever you bring off the ice doesn't matter. You know, it's
justify having him out there.
No.
Like in whatever it was, November.
Right.
Last
but it's an all-encompassing role.
Yes.
You know, you got to take everything into the table here, like how you are in the locker room, how you are on the ice, and how that affects everything. So a guy like Troy Stetcher, a guy like Corey Perry, if they're doing these extra things for the Edmonton Oilers, they got a place in the lineup.
100%.
Yep.
100%. And again, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's the Oilers.
Yeah. Everybody in Sportsnet picked them to win a Stanley Cup, so they're not going to be wrong.
That was no, they never are.
They never are.
Never are.
Man, it's so crazy. Pick the team that went to Game 7. What a bold pick. It's crazy.
I hated that. I hated that so much.
I didn't mind it. I was like, I get it.
Well,
Like,
you know who hated it? Oilers fans. No, shut up. Don't love
Right.
us.
Yeah,
Right.
don't. Oilers fans are interesting that way. Eh? They're like, we love our fan group, but you can't be a part.
Yeah, half those guys live in Toronto. Fuck you.
I just wanted a collection of like 20 NHL writers to be a little more creative in their pick.
Well,
There were a few.
There was like 4.
Well, dude, I think they're going to win.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know. You're asking me to ignore all my instincts and the evidence
I
of
guess.
my eyes and ears?
I guess. I don't know. All right. That's fair.
I don't know.
No, you know what? Kings.
Adam, who was your cup pick?
I can't even remember.
I don't think you made one.
I don't know if I made one.
I don't think we made them publicly on the show.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I made
I'll tell you this: 4 games in, I know Florida has lost
Calgary.
2 games, but the 2 games they've beaten Boston, they've really beaten Boston.
They don't like each other.
No, they don't. But like, and it's funny because I was watching last night. I was watching the Amazon Prime face-off thing because Natalie hadn't seen it yet. So I was like, okay, I'll go through another watch through of this. Yeah. And the Matthew Tkachuk, Jeremy Swayman episode is awesome. And Matthew, like when you see some of the highlights, like Sam Bennett pushing... which defenseman did he push into Swayman? And they're like, yeah, that's not goaltender interference, when it very clearly was.
Oh, man.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. We talked about that at length.
I don't think it matters.
Doesn't matter.
It's fine. It's fine.
I looked at Natalie in that. I'm like, listen, if the Leafs had scored the extra 2 goals they needed to win, Florida was going to fucking run them over.
Kill them.
And you, because you look at the way, because Toronto did match Boston physically, I thought, in that series much better than they ever had.
Toronto was close to Boston. Boston wasn't close to Florida.
That's right. And I think, by the way, we'll talk about the Leafs a little bit later, but I do think the Leafs are much more physical already this year. When it comes to that, I feel like the Panthers are Stanley Cup hangover team in the sense that, does the first 10 games matter? No, just get your wheels under you and get going. But there are certain games you get up for. And I look at the Florida Panthers playing the Boston Bruins and the Bruins playing Florida as hard as they did. And Florida still running them over in the regular season. Both teams got up for it.
And didn't they not have Barkov?
Yeah. So this is the thing. Like, I was wondering how Florida would look without Brandon Montour. Oliver Ekman-Larsson with Toronto has been already a revelation.
Oh my God.
And it just shows how we had nothing beyond Morgan Riley forever. Florida seems to be okay. And it shows how much deeper their defense core is. So I'm having a hard time betting against them.
So that's your Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time betting against Florida. But you know me, I never bet against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So it's the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh,
Stanley Cup champions.
you dumb.
Steve, who's your pick?
Edmonton.
Edmonton.
They got real close, and I think they're better. So
Yeah.
That's fair.
It might be early in the season, but your team could be causing you to lose some hair.
why'd you look at me? You looked directly at me. That was too quick.
You do have a book called "This Team Is Ruining My Life."
But I love them.
You might be that. You should have done the Homer Simpson thing where you're pulling out your hair.
Yeah.
That should have been you on the cover.
This team is ruining my hairline. Book 3.
Damn.
So here's the deal. Hims provides you with convenient, quality access to a range of hair loss treatments that work all from the comfort of your couch, presumably where you're losing your hair watching your favorite team.
It's true.
Okay, so here's the deal. You've got, the process is simple. It's 100% online. No uncomfortable doctor's visits. Personalized, chewable oral spray or serum treatments. Whatever works best for you. You can try them all out. There's a few questions you're going to need to answer to a medical provider to find out if the treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to your door, and it's in discreet packaging. It's not like, hey, this guy's losing his hair. Check it out in this package that's sitting on his front door.
Right.
They don't do
Right.
that.
No.
Yeah, it's discreet. Hims has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, and they can help you get your confidence back with visibly thicker and fuller hair. Now, you can start your free online visit right now at hims.com/SDP. That's Hims, HIMS.com/SDP for your personalized hair treatment options. Hims.com/SDP. Results may vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will provide a prescription if it's appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Well done.
I should mention to you, since we mentioned the Leafs here, and we were going to go there eventually. Anyway, Big Save Dave is going to get the start tonight.
Big save it, David.
Phoenix Copley has been called up on an emergency basis. Darcy Kemper's got an injury.
Is it goalitis?
Well, I just wondered, like, how many times did he dive across the net against the Senators? I would probably get hurt too, or at least pretend to be. Like, you need a day off after that.
Yeah. I don't understand. Like, why did they let the Sens hang 8 on him? How don't you get pulled at some point?
You would think Big Save Dave would go in, but it tells me
At some point
that this was a Big
8
Save
goals.
Dave scheduled start in Toronto. Because
that game happened, they had time off.
I know, but I feel like they're like, we don't want to put Dave in. We wouldn't want to make Dave tired.
Like maybe they wanted Kemper to get his eye in or something at the beginning of the season.
I don't know. I wouldn't leave a starter in for 8 goals like that.
No,
That's what
very
prompted
rare.
Patrick Waugh to say, I'm never playing for the Habs again. Like,
It's very rare that a goalie does that and they're okay with it. Like I remember years ago, Al Montoya, the Habs left him in for like 10 because I think Price had to play the next night or something like that. That's a bit different.
Game gets away from you. You're not the starter, but Kemper is supposed to be the starter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Phoenix Copley, by the way, had a great season a couple years ago.
He's not a bad goalie.
And somehow Big Save Dave is beat him in the order, which is
No,
surprising.
he had a real good season last year. Really underrated.
Why was his worst year when he was traded to Toronto?
Because.
Okay, now
And so just with Kemper, like they got a point that game. Like they weren't.
they did get a point,
Which is wild.
It wasn't like they were blown out at any point. The Kings were up, and then the Sens came back, and they everybody went back and forth, and they tied it, and they went to overtime. So it's not like it was a typical I allowed 8 goals game.
Your team allows 8 goals. It's a little everybody's fault.
Exactly. I don't think we're just blaming the goalie there. And he had a good first 2 games before that, So I think whatever he's dealing with probably just came up in practice or training or something like that. And
Did he interact with anyone from the greater Toronto area? Because he's probably just ill,
Yeah.
like everyone else. Man.
and they're also on a back-to-back, so we're probably going to see Big Save and then Phoenix Copley.
Oh, they're on
tomorrow.
a back-to-back here.
Yeah. So they're actually really blessed with their schedule because they're getting the Eastern Conference road trip out of their way here really early, the Canadian Eastern part of the road trip. So they get this all done with, but the back-to-back's happening today and tomorrow. So we're probably going to see Dave and then Copley tomorrow for the first start of the season.
Thank you, reporter Jesse.
I like that. Now Joseph Wool was on the ice today,
Hey, hooray.
and he was taking shots.
was-
Jesse, you were there.
I was not.
No, you
How
were
is
there.
that supposed to help?
No, not today. I mean,
Oh,
sorry.
like-
Today, I'm here.
You were there
Wait,
when
like
he
pucks?
skated and they hid him away.
Yes, so it's been a wild 3 days in Joseph Wool practice land. If you want, it's gone.
Yes, let's go live to Joseph Wool practice land.
Joseph Wool
I like
practice
that.
land. What's happening here? So on Monday they hide him. They before stop it.
We're scrumming Jesse here.
They hide him from us. We get in there and he's skated before we all arrive. Tuesday, he's on the ice briefly when everybody's there, but then he leaves really quickly and he doesn't do a lot of work. And then today, there's an optional skate at Scotiabank Arena happening right now while we're recording, so I couldn't be there, obviously. But before that optional skate, Joseph Woll hit the ice, and he did a little bit of drills and stuff. And what he's dealing with, Craig Berube calling it lower body tightness. So that's what they keep telling us. That's what it is. So today he was exercising the lower body tightness and seeing it all stretch out. And he's still day to day, week to week, and we're seeing how it goes day to day. So he's on the ice in front of everybody now. But before,
I wish there was a better
before
phrase.
the team,
I wish there was a better phrase than lower body tightness. Maybe it's my chronically online self. But
it's better than hard chain. So.
Better than hard.
Is it though? Is it though?
The
Wait,
other
is
guy-
lower body tightness dudes rock?
People
Or is
were
it
like,
cringe?
people in the comments were like, "It's 100%." The hard necklace.
The one
is
thing
100%.
we didn't clue in on enough in the Minnesota Wild thing is I said it, but when none of us had never clued in. The hard is on a piece of wood.
Yeah. Hardwood.
Yeah, we didn't go hard
it is a
enough
boner
at that.
joke. So
it's clearly they know what they're doing here.
So wait, we're sort of at the cross section of like 2 topics I want to talk about. I do want to get more into reporter Jesse, but also we
Let's
have
take the aside. Take the aside.
You want to do hardwood?
but we also have developments on the Minnesota part of it all.
Do you have an update on the hardwood chain?
There is a song, right?
Yeah.
That we
So
can't
what
play the song.
do we do first?
Well, let's talk about the chain. We're on the chain.
Yeah.
We'll go back
We
to the
can-
Leafs.
we can-
Leafs are less interesting than this. I can guarantee.
We can
you
divert to the chain for a little.
that. Yeah.
So, everybody, last show we highlighted the Minnesota Wild's MVP chain. That is just a chain with a piece of wood on it that says hard. It's the hardwood. And I think it probably went to Philip Gustafson last night on account of he scored a goalie goal, which is ridiculous. But
That would be back-to-back hardwood.
they got to get him to keep it. I guess he gets to give it to whoever he wants. But listen, there was a TV in the background of the video that we showed. And on that TV, there was a cowboy lying down seductively. And it appeared to be album art because they were playing music. And I said, what song is that? And it would appear that internet sleuths found the answer to what song it was. Jesse, Adam, do one of you know the name of the song?
Jesse knows it.
I know the artist is Wheeler Walker Jr. You can say the song name, but he does parody music.
Yeah?
Yeah. What's the name of the song?
I need to read it. I know there's a word in it that I don't know if we typically say on this show.
Let's
See it.
What?
Let me just-
I don't have it.
It ends with
You don't
kick
have
and
it?
ass, right?
What?
Doesn't it end with kick and ass?
I hope so.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it? I don't have it in front of me.
I believe I don't know if this is not normally what we say on this, but the song is called Kick and Ass. Which is, again, it's a parody song. And I do think it sounds like the Minnesota Wild have a sense of humor. And good for them.
I think on the
I might believe
sliding
that.
scale.
That's fine.
You
Yeah,
should
yeah.
bleep that.
That's
You
fine.
should bleep
Yeah.
that.
That's fine.
On the sliding scale of cringe to dudes rock, it's 110% dudes rock.
Oh, it's dudes rock.
You know the fucking dumbest thing in the world, which is the deserve to win-o-meter.
Yeah.
If we're doing that on the deserve to
Interesting.
Dudes rock.
dudes rock-o-meter, it has just pivoted, and you know when you see it just go zoop to
Yep.
the other side,
Yep.
it has gone 100% to the dudes rock side because they are just having fun with this whole thing.
Minnesota, all of a sudden, after years of conflict with this show, they might be a top 5 The People's Team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Dudes rock.
since we're going to talk about the Minnesota Wild, and we will go back to the Toronto Maple Leafs, I promise. And also, there's a Matt Sundin interview coming. Lots of Leafs coverage. Philip Gustafson scored a goal last night and has more goals than Connor McDavid.
He has more goals than Connor McDavid.
He's on a 25-goal pace.
He has more power play goals than the Leafs.
Wow. Now, that's a pretty low bar, the Leafs power play.
Yeah,
Zero.
zero.
Yeah. anything is more.
But I do want to say that was pretty sweet watching a goaltender score last night. And
Is it the first power play goal by a goalie?
I haven't
ever?
seen anything like that.
I've never.
No.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah.
I don't know. We did have somebody covering the game for SDPN.
What?
Because
Hayden?
producer Maddie
Oh, Maddie.
was working the game for the advertisers there, whatever she does on the side. And everybody in the entire building went crazy when he scored the goalie goal.
Everybody in that row was like, "Oh my god, no way!" Like it was electric in there. But it was the first time I believe the virtual ads have been implemented into the NHL, which was 3 years ago.
Those board ads that everybody hates.
Yeah, that everybody hates. That a goalie scored a goal, so everybody was hyped. But
You want to be working on those nights.
Yeah.
oh, it's so fun.
It's magical.
Yeah, when stuff like that happens, because I don't watch, I like the Leafs, right? Like, I don't
Yeah.
really watch those other games as much, but when they happen and something like that happens, it makes it so much more fun.
It's the
Yeah.
best. It's just the best. And this isn't a concrete answer, but Jameson Dirksen, who is a hockey video coach, media marketing guy, scout from McKean's, said Gustafson with what I believe to be the third power play goalie goal in NHL.
Oh, there you go.
Man, I need to know the truth here. I need to know the truth.
What do you mean?
I need to know the official, who were the first two? When the hell did that happen? Oh, Jesse's on it.
If we want to do that, I can tell you, but
You know, there's a lot of skaters who played hundreds of games in the NHL who never scored a power play goal.
Yevgeny Nabokov scored on March 10th,
Whoa.
2002. Martin Brodeur, March 21st, 2013. Those are the
March.
other two power play goals.
The first ever goalie power play goal, not in the month of March.
Wow.
Big stat.
Wow.
Philip,
Wow.
someone had to be first. It might as well be you.
Philip OG, am I right?
Am I right?
That's
Yes.
right. Yeah. Damn.
Do you guys remember the last goalie goal that we had?
No. I don't remember.
It
Oh.
happened. Adam doesn't remember anything.
I don't. Where am I?
Saros? Was it Saros?
Where am I? That's dark.
It's true. It's how my
No,
memory works. It doesn't.
Allmark.
Okay, so it happened last season. What's your guess?
Allmark.
Incorrect.
Oh, no, that was the year before.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
Incorrect.
All right.
It's a goalie who didn't get to play in Toronto recently.
He didn't.
This past Saturday. They said, no, we don't like you.
Oh.
Tristan Jarry.
Oh, really?
He scored a
scored
goal?
last year?
Yeah. Last year, Tristan Jarry scored a goal on
the other team?
on November 20th.
Oh,
Yeah.
good for
You guys-
him.
no recollection of that.
Nope, none. Absolutely.
For me, that's less surprising than you.
So I saw.
Oh wait, so it's not. I was wrong about that then.
Oh, yeah. You would have been wrong about Dome having a goalie goal.
Well, hey, first power play goal.
Yeah. In October. Wild stuff. I could picture yellow in the jersey, and I went through 2 other teams and didn't land on the Penguins.
I can see a goalie getting 2 goals in a season.
Yeah?
I can never. Wow, 17th goalie goal in NHL.
It was against the Tampa Bay Lightning last year.
Shout out to Gustafsson for the 18th goal.
Tristan Jarry, scored to give Pittsburgh a 4-2 lead late in the third against Tampa Bay Lightning.
So I can see a goalie getting 2 in a season just because, like, Marty Brodeur went for it a bunch of times, and so did Patrick Waugh and that sort of thing. If a goalie ever got 3, like, already I sound like a fucking cartoon saying.
Yes, you do.
If a goalie ever got 3, would that rank among the top 5 least possible records to beat?
Yes, on account of it's never happened.
Right?
Yeah.
I think a goalie needs to go. I think it's on Gustafsson to now go for it.
There's been over 100 years of the NHL.
And only
it's-
17 goalie goals.
Yeah. We've I don't remember if I mentioned this in the book. Like there's so many goalie friggin' stats that I came across in my research. And one is, I don't know why I'm mentioning this, it's only very loosely related. Martin Brodeur has the shutout record with 125.
Yeah.
Terry Sawchuk, I think, has 103. The guy in third with 90-something is George Hainsworth with he's got over 90. Half of those shutouts came before the forward pass.
Right. Right.
And why? It feels like there should have been a flood of goalie goals back then. You can't even pass it backwards. The goalie has the puck. They have all the advantages. Friggin' shoot it.
Exactly.
But
Adam,
maybe that was before they invented pulling the goalie.
your
Jesse?
thing about like, hey, what if they scored 3? There's never been a guy who scored 2.
This is what I'm saying. I said I prefaced it by saying I could see a guy get 2. I could see that.
There's never been 2 in the same season by anybody.
Has there not?
No, like
That I would have thought there
2
was.
goaltenders haven't scored a goalie goal in the same season ever.
See, we need to change this. And I know the guy to do it is Jake Markstrom.
Why is that? Okay, he doesn't like his net.
Because Jake Markstrom is a fucking tire fire when he leaves the crease, and I just want to see him do it.
So the equivalent of what you're saying, Adam, so the record for goals in a season is 1.
1.
The record for goals in a season by any player is 92. So what you're suggesting is imagine if a player scored 276 goals.
Yes. That's what
You
I
know
want.
what? Imagine.
Why not?
What?
Crazier
Why
shit's
not?
happened.
Brodeur's,
Why not you?
Brodeur's got the all-time goalie goal lead with 3.
Ever.
He scored 3 in his career. Ron Hextall comes in at number 2 with 2.
And he punched them all.
And then
Did.
and then everybody else on the list is at 1.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're actually at a point which hasn't happened very often where we've had a goalie goal in 3 consecutive seasons now.
Didn't Broder do one in the playoffs? Isn't that
There's only,
like a
I want to
90
say 2 goalies.
98,
ever
99
scored a
playoffs or
playoff.
something? I remember that was the first goalie goal I can remember was Broder. I forget who it was against, but I think it was in the playoffs. Montreal?
Yeah, so we've got 2 playoff goalie goals. Hextall scored in the 1989 playoffs against the Washington Capitals, and then Brodeur scored in the 1997 playoffs against the Montreal Canadiens.
Right. And I remember that. I was like, I hadn't even conceived that a goalie could do that. You know, when you're that age where you're like, I hadn't even thought that was possible.
No.
How is that? What? No way. I remember watching that and be like, what the fuck? This is crazy.
I remember the first time I watched a shorthanded goal and being like, I don't know if you're allowed to do that.
One thing
don't know
that's
if that's
funny
okay.
about goaltender goals is that no goaltender has been the pulled goaltender twice when a goalie goal has been scored, but Martin has been a pulled goaltender when a goalie has scored a goal. Damian Rhodes scored his goalie goal in the 1998
What a name.
99 season, and Brodeur was the pulled goalie at that time, which is
Rhodes.
fun. I don't think, I'm just looking quickly, no other goalie who's been the pulled goalie has scored a goalie goal besides Brodeur. He just loved going for it.
They
That's
had
cool.
they had to invent new lines to be like, stay in your net.
Can you name the 3 goalies who are active currently in the NHL who have had the goalie goals scored against them when they were the pulled goalies? And it's the 3 that happened in the last 3 years. So Linus Ullmark scored in 22-23 against. No, I can't tell you who against.
No.
Tristan Jarry scored in last season, and then Philip Gustafsson scored last night. So those 3 games. Can you give me the goalies that were pulled?
I don't even know who the Wild scored again. Oh, no, it was the Blues. Oh, Jordan Binnington.
Hey, so we got one.
Right.
And then I told you the Jarry one. We were just looking at the board.
I know.
I just told you who they scored against. You just saw the
Son of
I know
video.
it was in November.
Yes.
Remember that part?
Yes, and against who?
Oh, fuck it. I don't know. You're asking me.
American Thanksgiving. They scored it against American
Everybody listening who remembers what I said.
I know.
What team is it? Do you any idea?
No.
It was the Tampa Bay Lightning, and who was in net?
Jonas
Johansson.
Incorrect, you guys. Wow.
It can't be Vasilevsky.
It was Andre Vasilevsky
Damn.
who was the
Wow.
pulled goalie. And this one, the Linus Ullmark goal in 2023, 22-23 season, I'm going to give you the team, and you got to give me the goalie. It was the Vancouver Canucks. Who was in goal that day on February 25th, 2023?
Thatcher Demko.
Steve, that's your guess? Adam, who's your guess?
Who was their other Casey DeSmith.
Archer Seeloff.
No!
Was in net, and both of you got that wrong.
Oh, man,
So there
that's
you go.
hilarious.
Those are the 3 active
Shoot.
goaltenders who've had a goalie goal scored against them.
So,
Bless whoever's keeping track of that shit.
Yeah, thank goodness for Wikipedia. They got a whole article
on goalie goals.
list of goalies scoring NHL goaltenders.
Oh, that's
it's
cool.
a very fun read if you're into NHL stats like this.
Jake Markstrom,
Good
you
stuff.
know what to do.
Yeah.
Risk it all, Jake. Risk it all. Oh, Cam Ward got one?
Yep. These are all the
Cam
names.
Ward, the goalie who had one good year and 10 mediocre ones and made a lot of money doing it.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, not all of these goalies actually scored. Like, put the puck in the net.
Oh, went off
themselves.
somebody or something
Yeah,
like that.
or they were
Yes.
the last person to touch it by making a save.
So we have here, thankfully from Wikipedia,
Oh, that's insane.
The method of scoring tab in the chart. So a lot of the goalies, so Billy Smith scored on an own goal, Damian Rhodes scored on an own goal, Brodeur has an own goal, Mikko Noranen,
Mika Noren and Sabres legend.
own goal, Chris Mason, Cam Ward, and Martin Brodeur. So those the last own goalie goal would have been the Brodeur one in 2013. But yeah, then the last 5 are all on shots on goal, which is fun.
I love that there was an own goal. Jordan Stahl and Ilya Kovalchuk are both responsible for them. That's crazy.
Ilya Kovalchuk.
And Jeff Sanderson, there's a name. There's
Robert
a good name.
Reichel.
Yeah, crazy.
The first ever goalie goal, an own goal by Rob Ramage. Billy Smith got the credit for the goal in 1979.
That's future Leafs captain Rob Ramage.
It was weird because they had a baseball team playing hockey game. It was against the Colorado Rockies.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there where they're like, let's get the baseball team out there.
I could easily do a bar show with you guys, like a new podcast just called Dudes Named Dudes, where like this is.
I think Mike Connor's stat would go great there.
Yeah, I'm sitting here going, oh, Rob Ramage, oh, Damon Lankow, Lyle Odeline. I remember
Tri-City American, by the way.
Lyle Odeline, Blue Jackets captain.
First one, I think. No, Adam Foote was.
I don't remember,
Yeah.
but we're not allowed to Google anything.
No, that's the whole thing of it.
Yeah,
Like you can't use if you're sitting there on Hockey DB, then that's not the same thing.
That's
No.
true.
No.
Also, Hockey DB Kevin Bacon, I think, is a show I could do where you try to find you pick a player to relate absolutely everybody to, and how many degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Last thing before we move to the Leafs. Should we have Pete Peters' parents? Do we fine them? Do we put them in jail? What do we do with the parents of Pete Peters?
Why?
Because his name is Pete Peters.
You're so wrong. You're so wrong.
That's a good point.
If he did it today, I think you probably put him in jail. But he was born in 1957.
I don't know. That's pretty.
Also,
That's a 57.
That's pretty
ass name.
modern to not call your kid Pete Peters.
Pete Peters was on the 84 Canada Cup
Yep.
team. And I I'll be honest with you. I've not heard a lot about Pete.
So for context of anybody who doesn't know who we're talking about, Pete Peters was a longtime goaltender in the National Hockey League. He was a pulled goalie in the goalie goal chart. That's why I brought him up. And yeah, he played for the Flyers, Bruins, and Capitals, was on the Canada Cup team, as Adam mentioned, won gold. And his parents said, hey, our last name is Peters. Let's name our son Pete.
Wow.
Dude's rock.
Wow. And he was
Peters was born in a family of Dutch immigrants. The Dutch rock. Love that.
Home of Van Halen. Just saying.
Wow.
Dutch immigrant.
That's a faux pas to me.
No.
What are you doing?
Incorrect.
I think you're right, Jesse. But I feel like back then that was sort of a thing. You know what I mean? Like that was like there was like a little bit of, hey, this is fun.
In
now
1957?
It's like, oh, have you seen my daughter snow globe lately? She's so, you know what I mean? Now it's like, wow, it's like I charge crystals and I name my kid those crystals. Like it's that back then it's like, how do we make this into a fun, this could be a fun author name or something. You know what I mean? Like,
well, he couldn't have been anything other than a professional athlete.
no, Pete Peter, or he'd be a good columnist.
Here's Pete Peters.
Pete Peters on, here's Peters on sports.
Pete Peters, the plumber.
Nah.
Nah, I think it's a miracle hockey got him and not baseball.
Imagine
That's a baseball
Pete
athlete.
Peters the plumber, and then his son's name was Pete as well, Peter Peters.
Peter Peters.
And then he could have Pete Peters and son.
Junior
Pete Peters and co.
Yeah.
Pete Peters the third.
The Peters is anyway.
Could you imagine if like Kyle Davidson's dad or mom was like, hey, let's call him David.
David Davidson.
Like, what?
Marcel, noted Alan Walsh client. Right?
All right.
And Ivan. Legend.
Pete Peters is a ridiculous name.
It is. I hope
good.
I hope somebody like Robert Spala. I hope we hear
Oh,
from like
no.
Pete Peters' grandson
no.
listens to this show.
Don't
And is like,
listen.
excuse me.
I met him. He's a nice man.
I'm Pete the Third.
Lil Petey? You know Lil Pete
I'm
Petey?
Lil Pete's. Live in Peterborough. It's great.
Oh, he has to.
What do you assholes know?
Lil Pete Peters from Peterborough. We
That's
all
right.
know it's true.
That's right.
It's happening. That's a thing.
I want to hear from Odie and Sprague Cleghorn's great-grandchildren. How dare you speak disparagingly of my great-grandfather, Odie?
I need to hear from the kid of Babe Die.
Yeah.
I want to hear it.
I want to hear
that.
Lil Babe.
Lil Babe.
Lil Babe in the city.
Stop it, Jesse. Stop. You're out of control.
Oh,
You're out of
tell me
control.
one of the kids was named Ty.
Oh, I hope so. Tie-dye. You're such an idiot.
There was a Ty in the NHL. He wouldn't even be the first one. I'm just saying. Oh, God.
I want to tell you about Hope in Every Step. It's Saturday, November 2nd, 2024. Your check-in's at 10 a.m., and it is a walk to end violence against women. Now, this is an amazing charity, and it's an amazing event. Typically, 200-300 people that are showing up, and everybody's there for the right causes. Again, it's at Burlington City Hall, $40 per adult.
No.
What?
Steve won't go out there.
Oh, that's right, because it's in the West End.
Yeah, all the way out in Burlington. You might as well put it on the moon.
No, the moon's easier to get to.
If you want to,
There you go straight up.
if you're able,
Don't have to go west.
So there's a note here. If you would like to support the event but cannot attend,
Oh, that's Steve.
there's an online donation page. Now, we're going to put it in the description of this video, but I'll just give it to you right
This
now.
is very important for Steve, who cannot attend.
That's
because
I'm
it's
trying to
west.
listen
Will
to Adam.
not. Will not.
Will not.
JustGiving.com/campaign/HIES24. So again, it's JustGiving.com/campaign/HIES24. If you can't make it, that's great, but we'd love to see you there. Burlington City Hall, Saturday, November 2nd, 2024. Check in at 10. The walk is at 11, $40 for adults, 20 for youth, $5 per person if you register. Sorry, $5 off per person if you register as a team. There is lunch, there is a toque, and there are booths and activities. It's something that's great to do on a Saturday.
Booths.
So many booths. And it's a walk to end violence against women. Hope in Every Step. HIES. Google it. Check them out. So
We have fun.
We do. So here's the. So for the Leafs tonight, I don't know how we're going to transition into this.
Nah.
But for the Leafs tonight, I'm looking at a team that needs to do one thing and one thing only. The LA Kings are coming off of an 8-7 overtime loss against the Senators. These games happen in the first 10 games. It's always wonky. It's crazy, whatever. I need the Leafs to not make Big Save Dave look like Samuel Montembeault.
Oh, I know.
And I'm not trying to take away from Montembeault because he's going to be probably on Team Canada. He might even be the starter. But we need to not let former Leaf and career backup guy look like an all-star for a night.
No, Adam, you're focused on the wrong guy.
What do we need to focus on?
I don't give a shit that he didn't put up a point in an 8-goal game for his team. And I think he was a -3. I want Riley and Tanev on Trevor Moore like shit on Velcro.
Good point.
That dude turns into Martin St. Louis against the Leafs,
Yes, he
and
does.
you need to watch out.
And Oliver Ekman-Larsson will get his first full game quarterbacking PP1. And he's quoted a couple days ago saying, you almost don't know who to give the puck to because there's a lot of talent up here.
Well,
And Matthew Nyes will also be joining him there.
it's as long as we're talking about defensemen. Unlikely goal candidate for the Kings that just became a whole lot more likely because he's playing the Leafs. Leaf legend.
Carl Grundstrom.
He played for them last year.
Joel Edmondson is on.
Joel Edmondson!
He's on IR.
Is he?
He's off the roster.
Son of a
right?
gun!
Yeah, he's injured.
That's not fair.
Yeah,
He's going to
sorry.
score anyway.
But yeah, so I'm looking for that. Please don't turn Big Save Dave into a star.
No, he's a king.
And yeah, and
This guy's an idiot.
This
Shut up.
And what is Oliver Ekman-Larsson? By the way, Nylander is still iffy. We're not sure. He's injured, or he's not injured. He's sick.
Yeah.
His immune
Tavares
system
will
is-
play. Tavares was playing this morning. Willie, we're not sure because he's going to be game time. But
It's trending towards a no.
yeah,
Yeah.
This must be a pretty nasty virus. And can the Leafs not have this?
No.
Do that? They did this 3 times last year. Do we need to have vomiting sicknesses every month?
Listen, I have questions about how well those amulets work. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
It's a good question. There's a lot of people making the joke on Twitter. It's like, well, maybe Willie should have bought the amulet.
That was one of those stories where yesterday I'm like out and about and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
What the
Yeah,
fuck?
I'm-
I haven't had a chance to read enough about it.
No.
So
yeah.
we're going to wait.
Yeah, but interesting. I do want to move on to a couple of things before we get to Matt's and then a press conference. First off, did you guys know that it's hard to watch? I've had a few complaints this year about regional blackouts. Specifically, somebody from Whitby reached out and said, hey,
Whitby?
the game was blacked out. Now in Toronto, if that's the case, Whitby didn't make sense to me. I feel like that's probably a computer error because they have computers handle these things. But I would think that if it's not available locally on a TSN feed, if you have the Sportsnet Plus package, you can still watch it. Because
There's tiers to it, though. Like, it's not just the Sportsnet Plus package. There's like a level of Sportsnet Plus you got to get to bypass blackouts.
Okay.
They make it really difficult.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting, too, is a lot of Coyotes fans are upset because for local Utah games, they are shut out.
That's so garbage.
That's garbage.
Hockey has done nothing but just wedgie and noogie and beat the crap out of Coyotes fans for 25
I know.
years.
And yet they're
It's
still fans.
awful.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting is that a team closer by, the Vegas Golden Knights, are going to host clinics and watch parties in the Phoenix area this weekend. The Golden Knights announced on October 14th updated plans for the team to visit the Phoenix area on the 19th and 20th as part of the team's outreach to its new television territory in Arizona. So not Utah, but you can get the Stanley Cup winners from 18 months ago.
I'll take that.
That's not bad. The team will have will host a pair of free 1-hour on ice clinics from 12 to 1:30 for kids. The team will host a watch party, giveaways, retail items, photo opportunities. So they are making a real hard charge to get this market because guess what? The Arizona market, specifically Phoenix, is enormously important, which is why the NHL stayed there. And I think
Treated it real well.
it behooves Matt Ishbia, owner of the Phoenix Suns, to get going and put a team back there.
Adam,
Don't let the Golden Knights take your lunch.
there was someone at the book signing yesterday who was from the desert.
I'm glad somebody made it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They were from the desert. That was a good line. It was a good line.
What?
No, it's a good line.
You should hit him.
I will.
Hit him for that one.
Yeah,
the
I
show.
should. I should. Just shake your fist.
They were from the desert. Do you know what part of the desert?
Scottsdale.
Henderson.
No, Nevada?
They were from
Did they have a Silver Knights jersey?
Henderson. They had a jacket.
Oh, sick.
There was
That's next level as a fan. I own a lot of Leafs jerseys. I don't own a Leafs jacket.
someone
That's
was wearing
fun.
a sweater. It was a Kachina sweater, but not for the Coyotes. It was for the Tucson Roadrunners. And I didn't know that they had even made those.
That's crazy.
So
and they're moving them, by the way. Tucson's a great hockey market, and
Yeah.
it's regularly drawing like 10,000 people.
Well, see you
so
later.
Alex Murello's like, let's get them out of here and put them in Nevada, which is what he's going to do.
Dude, that guy sucks.
Yeah, I think the AHL
Holy
needs to force a sale there too. They need to do whatever the NHL did.
Oh my God.
Anyway, that's cool. It's very cool.
Henderson, baby.
Henderson Silver Knights. Did you guys talk about the various sites in Henderson? What there is to do?
Yeah, there's a
I don't know
building
anything
across
about
the
Henderson.
street.
No, Steve's been there several times.
Yeah, Steve's a fucking expert, man. You've been at Henderson as much as I've been to like places I've lived.
Steve, have you been to Henderson more or Oakville? Because you refuse to go
won't
west
go west.
of Yonge Street.
Oh man, that's a good question. Like I've driven through Oakville.
Yeah, no, I'm talking like
Gotten out of the car and
done something
Downtown
in
Oakville,
Oakville.
which is beautiful.
It's not down.
maybe
Well, it's
Henderson.
that street. That's
It's Lakeshore.
Henderson?
I think you've been to Henderson more.
Like I've been to Boston way more than Oakville. That's crazy. That's crazy. I didn't even.
That's
think
mean
of
to the Oakvillians out there.
Yeah.
it's far.
It's
Far.
far.
Give me a reason
Listen
to go to
this.
Oakville.
An hour.
I'll go.
It's a lot of gas.
No, I
lot
didn't
of
say
traffic.
anything about gas, but now that you mention it,
A lot of traffic. Yeah. You gotta get on the fucking QEW. You gotta take a Gardner.
Yeah, you know what it is, Jesse? It's the traffic. He just
No, he won't sit in it.
Steve gets irrationally upset at traffic. Some people have that.
I think I get rationally upset at traffic.
Oh, okay. Well, I just find it funny.
No, yeah.
I love hearing about your roots to work. Jesse, I've sent you a text.
Yes.
And I want you to look at this because I thought that this was cool. And I think more teams need to copy, and I haven't said this much, copy what the Blackhawks are doing.
Oh,
I wouldn't say that often, but I would
something.
say that they're doing a good thing, doing one smart thing. And I think you need to check it out. And I'm just tap dancing here. Now,
No, I got it.
Okay.
We're good.
So let's bring it up.
We're good.
The Blackhawks are selling 24-ounce hockey sticks of beer.
Hell yeah.
And you get to keep the hockey stick, which I assume you could just use as a mini stick at home.
How much?
It didn't say.
Oh,
Okay, now I'll look it up.
That's
dialed
that's
in on
the
the-
important part of the story.
I think that's one of those where you just pull out the debit card and go, you know what?
no, I've never been in a situation like that. Not all of us are millionaires. Billionaires, sorry.
What is that jalapeno margarita on the board behind him?
You got distracted.
I got no.
board?
Let's have some words. Is that what's the word in front of it? Is it pickly?
pickly jalapeno margarita.
Let's have a discussion. I would like some of that.
That looks good.
I want that in my body.
There is no, believe it or not, with all the Hawks media. Hold on, there is not.
Somebody's got to tell us.
Nobody has done a story on the hockey stick beer
No,
because they've added a whole bunch of new things. So I guess the Bulls and Blackhawks have added a whole bunch of stuff to the United Center.
Okay.
Which not to be confused with the other airline center, the Delta Center, United Center. And because it's a bit of an old place, it's been there since '94, and for arenas, that's old. But I'm looking at the articles even on Hawks Insider here, and I'm not seeing a price. Can't find a price.
Ben Pope.
Let's DM one of them.
Hurry up.
Hey, Ben.
Mark Lazarus. Oh.
Scott
Get in
Powers. Get on
Scott
that.
Powers. Oh.
Get on that.
Use
Hey.
your,
I'm in
use
a-
your Scott Powers.
I'm going to
Talk about beer.
DM Mario Tirabassi.
Oh, he would know.
Yeah, who covers the Blackhawks for CHGO.
Runner up in the award for most Italian. Mario Tirabassi.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mario's been a long time listener.
Yeah, big fan of the show.
Yeah.
He's always been very supportive.
And
of us.
he's
Very
done pretty
nice.
darn well for himself too.
Oh,
that
yeah.
show's done well.
That's somebody you're like, oh, I like your success.
Yeah, yay for you. Yeah, and so anyway, I just thought the 24-ounce stick. Now here's the thing: I would take that home and then go, shit. What do I do with this? I better give it to a child. So I would
not
give
where
it.
I thought that sentence
I would
was
give
going.
it to Steve's kid, but I would wash it out first. Are you keeping the hockey stick after drinking out of it? Because I feel like for me, it's like, oh, I definitely want that, and then I would drink it, and then I'd be like, shit. Now I don't like junk in my house.
Every
Get rid of stuff.
piece of anything I've given Leo, it's like, here, you break this.
Right.
So he would break that eventually.
Yeah?
We have doors in our house that have like little rectangular glass panes in them, and Leo broke one the other day with his hockey stick. Not with a shot.
Yeah.
He just went, I wonder what'll happen if wham! I was still up in bed because I worked the night before, and I just hear crash, clink, clink, clink. Steve! I'm like, okay. All right. I have a 4-year-old boy.
I think this is an easy one to replicate in all markets. I hope Toronto takes this, because that is something I'm willing to pay an obscene amount of money for.
The what the fuck is it called? The concert venue that's outside at Ontario Place.
Budweiser State.
No, but the one that's just outside. I forget the fucking name of it. Anyways, they have a guitar
It's
of
not
wine.
Budweiser stage?
No, the one that's like next to it. That's just like outside, and you can just.
Oh, is that where they have like the EDM?
What is it? Yeah. Where the
Oh, Echo Beach.
Echo Beach. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, at Echo Beach down in Toronto, they have this equivalent thing. But it's a guitar.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can get a guitar of wine.
Oh,
It's awesome.
shit, that's wild.
Yeah, I assume they still haven't been there in a couple of years, but last time I was there, we got a guitar
That's
of
too
wine.
much wine for
Oh,
It was a lot.
no, let's go get gray teeth. Hell yeah.
But it was the biggest amount of alcohol you could get. So that's why we got it.
Oh, that's cool.
Because like the beers were like in regular cups and they even had like tall ones, so we just got the guitars of wine. It was good
How
value.
much was it?
I don't remember. It was like decently priced. It was less than like $30, like 25.
That's
or something
okay.
Like that. Yeah.
Damn, I would expect a beer like that at Scotiabank to be $30.
I bet the ground just sounds like Velcro. Like, there's no way people aren't spilling that shit absolutely
Oh, just sticky,
everywhere.
you mean. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That-
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I walk into arenas, I'm like, did they pre-sticky the floors, or has everybody just been drinking beer since it's 10 years ago? It must, because there is that like Rogers Center, which I haven't been to in over a year because I refuse to watch and pay for the Blue Jays until they.
You should
figure
check out
it
the renovations. They're
I've
nice.
heard they're amazing.
Yeah, they're cool.
For like a concert.
But you walk in there and it's like crunch, 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 crunch. Like, you get that thing. I don't find that with Scotiabank. I find that they get that floor clean. Now it's dirty pretty quickly.
Hey, if you have a nut allergy, can you go to baseball games?
Sure, you can.
There's peanuts.
Are you
everywhere.
sure?
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
Shells
Yeah.
everywhere. Like, there's just the dust is in the air. Like, do you go? Like, do you
Is it
leave
the
a
dust
game
or
a
is
little
it the
puffy?
oil though? I thought it was the oil. Like,
I don't know, man.
consumption of the oil.
It's all of it.
Like, I don't think it's like cats where it's dander in the air. I think you have to actually eat the peanut or touch the peanut, right?
Yeah, but you're probably touching it. Can you not wear sandals?
Can we call this show "Touching the Peanut"?
Ew, no, I don't know. That might be a little too
I
much.
think the title might need to be harder.
Harder. Last thing before we get to Matt's, and then we'll do a press conference, is, and this just popped up while the show was happening, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, and Josie Altidore are investing in the Buffalo Bills.
Oh,
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting, and I thought, interesting, does that mean Pagula Sports and Entertainment? No, it doesn't. So the team, they value the team at $5.08 billion American, and it's apparently those three guys with a bunch of others, the Pagula family hired an organization to go out and try to find investors. Ostensibly, you sell a piece of the business so that people inject, rich people put money into your business, and they own a piece of it, and then you get some extra cash to play with. Nothing has been signed, and it's possible it doesn't happen according to Sportico, but Carter, McGrady, and Altidore are apparently in on this, and it kind of goes to, I thought it was interesting because obviously they're all American guys, but they all played the best parts of, well, McGrady maybe not, but the best parts of their career in Toronto. And there have been rumors about Bills, Toronto, Rodgers wanting, Ed Rodgers wants an NFL team. That's why he is like, that's his big legacy play as a billionaire. He wants to bring the NFL to Canada. I just thought that's notable and should be something that we should bring up.
Eyebrow raising.
Yes.
What are you
But again,
up to?
the Sabres are not a part of this. Sabres are not a part of this.
Boy, they really are just the ugly duckling there, eh?
I wanted to ask you about the Sabres, guys. Have you watched the whole Amazon documentary yet?
Not yet.
Okay. When you watch the Jack Eichel episode, have you guys seen it?
I've seen it, yes.
Kevin Adams, they just throw Kevin Adams right under the bus.
Oh, really?
Because all it is, essentially, like, this is an old story. I'm not blowing the episode for you. It's a 30-second piece on how Jack Eichel ended up in Vegas, right? Mm-hmm. And they talk about, he was captain, and they show that press conference where Kevin Adams is like, he didn't pass physical. He won't get the surgery. He's no longer captain. And you think about it, and at the time, a lot of Sabres fans turned on him, and I think because the organization was like, well, he won't work with us, and he's being difficult. And I just look at that in retrospect. He's gone and he's won a cup. He was fantastic in the run. He's been a great player. The surgery, which had been done on a ton of other athletes, just not hockey players, was done, and it was done well, and he's played well since. Mm-hmm. And I thought, boy, as much as I'm sure the Sabres are great with Krebs and Tuck and some of these guys, it sure doesn't replace Eichel, does it?
No. And
he looked
they're great
bad.
players, but
He looks bad. Kevin Adams looked bad. He looks like it's a rough look, man. You watch that scene, tell me what you think. I think it's worth checking that out because I thought, man, I was like, shit, I forgot all that happened.
you know what would have been way more interesting if they just told like a fraction of that story and made everyone look good. I think that would have been better.
Well, I mean,
that's what they would have done a few years ago because NHL teams would have got their fingers on it, and Amazon this time around seems to have just made the documentary that they wanted to, and it's way better as a result.
Exactly. Like, I think you got to see that scene. It's kind of nuts. Anyway, shall we bring on Matt Sundin?
Who?
He's got a book. I don't know. It might
Another
be
one?
All right, did you want one that's competing with yours? I mean, like,
Not really. I mean, I don't know. Could he possibly pose a threat?
let's bring on Leafs legend Matt Sundin. All right, welcoming on, and this is not the first time ever, but it's the first time via Zoom, the one and only, one of the greatest Leafs of all time. We're so excited. It's Matt Sundin, baby. Let's go. Matt, where are you joining us from, first off? That's a very nice-looking living room.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm in Stockholm, actually. It's we're 6 hours ahead of you guys, and thanks for the great introduction. Feel welcome.
Excellent. This is your favorite podcast that you're doing today, right?
Absolutely. Number one.
Good.
So Matt, obviously, we're big Leaf fans. We know the history, that sort of thing. Let's talk about this book. You are a guy who is, at least the perception of you with the public is you're a notoriously private person. So when you come out with a book like this, are there any challenges to talking about yourself, which is something that you traditionally maybe haven't been as comfortable with?
Well, I think, at age 53, and, I've been asked a few years about doing the memoirs. And last summer, I figured if I don't do it now, well, I still remember, not everything about my career, but parts of it and childhood and growing up. I thought it was the right time. My kids our daughter's 12. We have a son that turns 10 here in a couple of weeks. And our youngest boy is 7. And they look at me like they don't know I played hockey or anything. So I hope in 5 or so years, they're going to be able to read the book and say, oh, our dad was okay. He was a hockey player, right?
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So hopefully there'll be something for them to read, and it was the time now. Otherwise, I think it might not get done, I think.
Reading through your book, I need to know if you kept score. Did you lose more teeth playing soccer as a child or in your NHL career?
Well, for sure, playing in the NHL at the end of the day. But I did lose my teeth first time in grade 1, actually playing soccer in the winter and slipped into a friend's head. And my mom wasn't happy with that. It was just the new teeth you get at that age, and they were both gone. So that was tough, but more in hockey for sure.
Okay.
Matt, it's interesting that the book is so full of great stories, but something that really stuck out to me as something that it seems to be emotional and visceral for you, is your absolute vehemence about the fighter position, about the enforcer position, and you talk about a story that happened in Buffalo during the third round in the 98-99 series in the third round. And I remember that series, Mats. I cried at the end of it in Game 6. Like I was in tears because I was 10 years old, and you can't imagine how much that team meant to me. You can't imagine.
I get it.
And I gotta say, I thought this really stuck out because I had no idea. I knew you were friends with Ty Domi, but there was a writer at the time, who will remain nameless, who wrote a story about how Ty should have been scratched because Buffalo was scratching Rob Ray. And Ty confronted him in a towel in the dressing room. And I wanted to know what you recollect from that story, because obviously it's in the book a little bit. But also I want to talk about your friendship with Ty, because there is a staunch defense in that book that you could be you because he was himself and he laid his body on the line. And how important was that to your career and your success in Toronto and elsewhere?
Well, guys, and I think you guys follow the game all the time. And as a player over my 18 years, you come to realize that Ty, the Wade Belaks, the tough guys in the league, by far have also the toughest job, right? They're expected to come out and fight. They have to fight each other. And, just imagine having to go to work and knowing that you have to fight someone at that night, and you play games every other night. So, you come to realize when you're in the league that they carry, and no one can actually enjoy that, go out and do that every night. It's a tough job, and they deserve the respect from not only players, obviously fans and everybody, but it's a tough job to do. And Ty, you look at the years I played with Ty, and even before that, other guys, I was able, and Ty keeps reminding me even today, you remember, you didn't have any concussions thanks to me. And he has a point. He has a point, but it's a needed role. It allowed me to be able to do my job on the ice and not being taken advantage of from opponent's team. And the guys are still out there. They're doing the job, and it's very important. I have the much respect and the toughest job in the game.
And it's interesting because I talked to somebody who was in the room when that happened. And he said it was an unbelievable sight because there were 60 people that were non-team in the dressing room.
6-0?
6-0 non-team. So it's it's all the guys who played and then all the media following them, and it's Buffalo media, it's Toronto media, it's intense. Mats, I look at the bond that you and Ty have, and then I think about Max Domi specifically, and how much it means to him to be a Toronto Maple Leaf. Like before the first round last year, he's putting a sizzle reel out. He always mentions you. He wore your number in Montreal. Obviously, he can't wear it here because it's retired. But I look at that friendship, and that's now multi-generational. And I've heard that you had Max over to your house when you guys were in Sweden last year. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And when we played, I followed Max playing hockey since he was 8 and 9 years old. I remember we went out in between games. Me and Ty went out to watch him playing minor hockey in Toronto. He was in our dressing room, and with our team. And for me to have him over at the house here in November when Toronto was in Stockholm for the games, and watch him grow into a man, the career he's having, and be able to sign a long-term deal with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think he's going to be a great asset for the team. I know he's going to play his heart out for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm extremely happy for him.
There's a story in Ty Domi's book that I thought was so funny, and he glossed over it because you mentioned the stress of having to fight every second night, and he would have 2 big bowls of pasta, and he would try to have his pregame nap, but he would never be able to sleep. And then he found out after he retired that the reason he wasn't able to sleep is he was diagnosed with a gluten intolerance.
Oh, wow.
Is that Ty Domi just completely summed up to you? Is that the Ty Domi that we don't know?
That's too funny. But I guess I don't know if it was just the gluten. I think he was so intense, and I mean, I'm sure he's gluten intolerant, obviously. But I mean, that job, go out and do his job, and knowing that he had to prepare, he had to see what team are we playing. Is it Berube and the Flyers, or is it McCarthy, or is it whoever, Probert, or all these tough big boys that he had to face on an everyday basis. I'm sure there was more reason than just gluten intolerant why he had a tough time falling asleep in pregame nap.
Yeah. And so Matt's, I'll be honest, this is not the first biography I've read of you. There was a biography for kids on the history of Matt Sundin. Done. Do you remember this kid's book? I had this kid's book, and basically,
I've seen it.
You've seen it. So it said that the thing that you missed the most. This is how simple this was. I mean, like grade 1 reading this, going, this is the greatest thing I've ever read in my life. And it said that when you left Sweden, one of the things that you missed the most were Swedish meatballs, and for whatever reason, that's been the thing that stuck with me for years. Is that the truth? When you got to Quebec, where you're like, damn, the meatballs here are just not up to par.
I can't recall really. But sure.
I knew it was going to be a stupid question, but
exactly. But the meatballs are good, but I think they're very good in Toronto as well.
How much do you think playing sports like bandy, which for a lot of people in North America they don't really we don't play it as much here. Though. Bandy is like a hockey adjacent dry land sort of sport. How much do you think that played into your skill development growing up?
Well, I tell you this, the Swedish, Ice Hockey Federation, they did a study on Nicholas Lidström, Peter Forsberg, myself, and Marcus Näslund, and they spent a year is there any common ground for these kids? They became the stars they did in the National Hockey League and in the Swedish national team. And one thing that stuck out that when I look at it today as a parent, I have kids in all kinds of sports and different activities, is that we had on average every week 30 hours of like spontaneous sport, like not including like the hockey practice, but bandy and other thing. And that's just an enormous amount of playing around like with different games, right? Whether it's soccer or hockey. And then we went to different practices. So bandy was obviously helped me a lot with the skating. So I could have a hockey practice in the before lunch, and then I went to play a bandy game in the afternoon. It was all just for fun, but fantastic workouts and obviously helped me with my skating.
Years ago, we asked you about, because you got your eyes over there in Sweden and you're watching some hockey over there. Who's a player that we got to keep our eye on? And you talked about this guy, didn't really pan out, named Elias Pettersson. Turns out you were right. He's pretty good. So what I need to know all these years later is who's next?
It's a good question. You guys know, but Sweden, hockey is a big sport in Sweden, not like Canada. There's a lot of competition now, drawing kids. I think there's 80,000 registered hockey players in Sweden.
Wow.
Smaller than Ontario. It's 11 million people maybe. So the hockey program has been very good. I mean, you've seen the draft. There's always high picks coming out of Sweden, but there's a defenseman right now in Skellefteå, Sundin Pellikka. He's a high draft pick, I think. He's still over here. He's going to be a good defenseman eventually. And but it's not like it's been before. I think Swedish hockey has to keep working on having a great program to be able to keep producing and trying to keep up with the Canada and the US and obviously Russia in terms of bringing up new talent, right? So but it still looks good still, and it's a work in process. But there's one name for you that I think he's going to have a great career.
Another name I want to bring up is an older name, and one from what I understand meant a lot to you, is Borje Salming. Obviously Borje. He made a tremendous impact in Toronto, just like you did. And he meant a lot to Swedish ice hockey. I know that, or at least from what I understand, you used to attend his camps when you were growing up. Is that true? Yeah.
Yep.
And so...
Well...
go ahead, please.
Yeah, sorry. No, I went to his he had a hockey school up in Kiruna, the small mining town above the Arctic Circle, his hometown. Actually, when I got traded to Toronto Maple Leafs, I was there for his hockey school. It was such a fluke coincidence, but he was able to tell me what it means to wear the blue and white and represent the Toronto Maple Leafs. And so he was great help for me, like as a mentor during my career. When I got asked to be the captain for Toronto Maple Leafs, Borje was the first guy I called, and he said, "Mats, you have to accept. So one of the biggest honors you can have wearing the C." And he regretted obviously not accepting because he got asked playing, and so it was an easy choice for me. But he, except from the hockey part, he was a great friend. And me and my brothers, we still go fishing. This year was the 30th year in a row we go fishing to a place outside Kiruna where Borje helped me go. So he was a big impact in my career.
And when you look at sort of his impact on Swedish hockey, just in general, him and Hammarström and some of the other guys that came over, but Borje was sort of the big one in Toronto and really league wide. How is he viewed in Sweden? Because he's still a god here, right? When I was there, the last game that he was able to be in Toronto, when they had him out on the ice and dropping the puck, and Toronto, unfortunately, right now has a bit of a quiet arena, but that night was extremely loud, and it was for him. And I just wonder how do people in Sweden view Borje?
Well, I think with his passing, it was devastating. I think he's been viewed on as an icon because, just like you said, he really made NHL managements, coaches realize that, hang on a second, Swedish players maybe can play over here. They're pretty good. And Borje Salming is the reason why my generations and beyond were able to be accepted and play bigger roles in North America. And also with the terrible loss of Borje, I'm on the board on his ALS foundation with Nicholas Ludström, and we're raising a lot of money for it. But just that disease, the way it ended, is such an icon. This war hero, all the battles he went through, and then have to fight this terrible disease at the end. So he's definitely been in people's hearts in Sweden before his passing, and still is, and he's always going to be an icon over here.
I mentioned to someone earlier today that I was getting the chance to talk to you, and I regret that she couldn't be here for the interview because it sounded like she wanted to conduct it herself. And the first thing she asked is, "When's he going to come over here?" And I go, "Well, what do you mean? When's he going to come over here? He's going to do an event at the Hall of Fame. He's promoting the book." She's like, no. When's he going to work for the Leafs?
Yeah.
Have you ever been tempted into an NHL job in any capacity?
Well, first of all, I was very happy. I got invited by Brad Treliving to attend camp this year for a few days, be around the team and management. And, being a coach and management and part of an NHL team organization, that's a 24/7 job. And I've been very blessed now having my kids after my career. I've been with them, watching them grow up. And, but we'll see what happens in the future. The door is open, and we'll see what happens.
That's cool. That's great to hear. I think even just you being around would be very, very cool for a lot of those guys, because there's probably a lot of, I remember what I was like in my early 20s, and I knew nothing. And it's helpful to have people around that know something. So I hope we see around a lot like we saw Nick Antropov. Like we've seen him he's
still around.
And he's around and being a part of it. It's awesome. Mats, I got to ask you about being a dad. Steve and I are younger fathers than yourself. Like I've got a 5.5-year-old. Steve has a 4-year-old and a 7-month-old. So he's not sleeping quite yet. What's it been like? What the challenge of being captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, or the challenge of raising 3 kids? Which is harder?
Captain of the Leafs is easy.
So tell us about how much have you enjoyed stepping into that?
Oh, no, it's been great. Obviously, it's the thing you value most in life, your kids. And at the same time, as you guys know, the stage you guys are in, it's a lot of work too. But it also made me reflect, and I talk about in the book. I have so much more respect for my own parents, what they went through with, me and my two brothers, and the support they gave us. And if I can give our kids half of the support my parents did to me and my brothers, I'll be happy, because it's all about helping the kids and just supporting their dreams they have, whether it's playing piano or playing hockey, whatever it is. I'm going to try to be there and try to support them.
That's this. You just reminded me of one of my favorite visuals from the book, where I think it was your grandmother going outside because she's like, "Oh, you need a goalie? I'll be goalie." And she goes outside like wearing her kitchen apron and everything. Are you gonna wear like a barbecue apron or something out there? And put on like Cujo's old.
How do you look in goalie pads? Yeah.
Yeah, we have a goalie net down in the garage, and I have my son there. We're taking shots. I haven't been in net yet because we have real ball. But if he needs a goalie there, but then he can't shoot with real pucks. It has to be tennis balls or something soft.
Yeah, I understand that.
Mats, I also know that you've got a foundation, if I'm not mistaken, here with the Princess Margaret.
Yep.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
Yeah, and so I just. I don't think a lot of people know about that. And it fits with who you are, that you're not out there trumpeting it all the time. But that is a pretty major institution here in Toronto. And we have a lot of international listeners, a lot of people not from Toronto or not from Ontario listening. For anybody that doesn't know, it's one of the premier cancer centers in the world. And you're still involved with it. Can you tell us how you got involved and why you continue to be?
Yeah. So actually, I have a Canadian foundation, a Mats Sundin Fellowship, and it's founded with actually University of Toronto and the Karolinska Institute in Sweden. And I also have a friend. He's a Swedish professor. He's the head of the Princess Margaret Cancer Hospital. And so for me, it was easy. I had a long, fantastic career. I was fortunate to spend it all in Canada. In Toronto, Quebec, and Vancouver for a short time. But when I retired and I was able to, live my passion and be able to make money off of it. So I wanted to keep giving back to the city of Toronto where I played most of my career, also to Stockholm. So that's the collaboration. And I always enjoy visiting. I have my banner they used to hang at the Air Canada Centers, hanging in the Sick Kids Hospital today, which is great. So the connection is always going to be there, and be able to meet families, kids, adults that are going through tough times in life. It's very important for players too in the National Hockey League and for the Leafs. And I know the Toronto Maple Leafs still does a great job with that. It's a reality check when we talk about how serious hockey is, but at the same time, there's very important things going on in life that is out there. So it's very easy for me to be able to contribute and help out.
Well, Mats, we've taken up enough of your time, but I just want to say how much this has meant to us that you'd make time for us. We're looking forward to your Hall of Fame event with Steve coming up here. I think that's next week, isn't it? 21st. So you're going to be in Toronto. And I just hope and while this book comes out, I hope that you're flooded with the gratitude that Leaf fans have for you, because honestly, you were, at least for our generation, we grew up with you. We all had your jersey. You meant a lot. And I hope that we see you as close to that team as humanly possible, knowing that you've got 3 kids at home to raise, because, the closer Mats Sundin is to the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think the better off we all are.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
For the press conference. It won't be very long. Mats Sundin, excellent.
Handsome.
Warm.
Yes.
Really warm.
Yeah.
That's an interview I was legit nervous for, because with Mats, he's very, he's not bombastic, and he was great.
And I get to share a stage with him for an hour on October 21st.
Oh yeah, that'll be fine.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
Yeah, I've read a bunch of his book already. I have the audiobook, which will be easier. He reads it, eh? Like he reads his audiobook.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. No, not all authors do that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a very common thing.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. Makes it way better.
From last episode, we got to issue 2 corrections. One, I give it a stat about the Leafs losing the home opener for the first time since 1967. There was just details I left out about the stat. It's the Leafs lose 1-0 in a home opener on the road, which hasn't happened since 1967, since the 1966-1967 season.
Goalie power play goal, not in the month of March. That's the vibes.
So we were doing all the 67 numbers, so just to get that correct. And also, Steve said that Anthony Stolarz would be a good candidate for Team Canada. That's not possible because Anthony Stolarz is American.
Yeah, he played for London, so I thought he was Canadian.
Yeah.
I guess he's not. And I could have taken 20 fucking seconds to Google it. Nah,
So just to correct
Guys.
those 2 things.
When you're doing a 2-hour show, it is impossible to get everything correct.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's impossible.
we do try.
We try
we try.
our best, but
It's okay.
And by the way, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
I don't know. Next thing.
Anthony Stolarz.
I will not be okay with this.
Fucking.
Next thing. We're talking about books. Adam. Steve, shut up for half a second.
Okay.
Don't jump in. Steve was listening to something on the way in. It was, I think, the most Steve thing that he could ever listen to.
Harry Potter.
Can you guess what it is?
It's not Harry Potter?
No.
He listens to those audiobooks. So Steve hadn't read Harry Potter,
Yeah.
but I told him he should listen to the audiobooks, and then he did.
And he
And
loved
now he does that once a year.
Yeah.
What was Steve listening to on the way in? It was an audiobook.
Yes. Yes. An audiobook, yeah.
I don't know.
Steve only has like a couple interests, right? Hockey's one of them.
Yeah, Moneyball.
No.
Okay. That's a good answer.
That is a good answer.
good answer.
Okay.
That is
Good
a very
answer.
good answer.
Thank you for reminding me to download it.
It certainly wasn't A Song of Ice and Fire.
No.
No.
That would have been a lot of
That
fun.
would have been great.
That would have been we would have led the show.
That
with
would have been like Steve, Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yeah, we're talking. You would have loved this.
Do you want me to play a snippet?
Okay, can I get a hint?
I'm just gonna reveal it to you,
Please.
because I think everybody needs to know this. Steve was listening to Hockey Rants and Raves
Yeah.
by Steve Dangle.
Why didn't I stop? Why didn't I default to that?
Steve was listening to himself read his own book.
The Are You Here
And
to
I
See
did
Me
great.
guy.
The Are You Here to See Me? Why were you listening to yourself?
I want to hear how good it is. I haven't heard the audiobook since I said it. So,
I love
and
that.
I got to say, this audiobook's better than the last one. My performance on point.
How far into your own book are you?
That's a great question, Jesse. Let me I
downloaded it last night. I did buy it.
I
It's
saw
like getting a
him
copy.
because we park next to each other every morning. I saw him backing up into his spot, and on like the dash where you see the Apple CarPlay thing is just a big thing that says Hockey Rants and Raves.
I would have thought you heard Steve talking and no lips
and
moving.
then when he gets closer, I can hear just the book coming from the car.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the foreword by Adam is 4 minutes 59 seconds.
Somebody was pissed, by the way, that I didn't do the forward.
Oh, you should have.
I didn't even know that was a possible. I didn't even know.
We didn't have it in the budget to pay Adam for that.
I was. Yeah.
No,
Listen,
that's
you can't
a really
afford
good
it.
idea.
Yeah, no,
We could put that in the second edition. I'm happy to do it. But yeah.
just to prove how
We could do
much-
it here and just send it to them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yo, that's actually so true. Okay, just to prove how much Adam was yapping in the forward, my intro to the book was actually shorter. It's 4 minutes 45 seconds. Best things about going to a game is 28 minutes. It's a business, 15 minutes 13 seconds, and I'm almost all the way through Leafs Lament, which is 1 hour 2 minutes and 47
That chapter?
It's very long.
An hour, yeah.
I think it is is it the longest chapter in the book? It is.
Okay.
Not by a wide margin, but it is. There's another 56-minute one, a 52-minute one, a 54-minute one. That chapter's 54.
What?
I didn't know that.
Which one has the zoo reference? Because there is one.
I don't know. I have to listen to it.
Well, now there's a reason.
Okay,
We got to know where the zoo reference.
I've read and written the book out of order 40,000 times. So I actually don't. I know what's in it. I don't know where anything is.
Oh, okay.
So I have to listen to it.
Yeah, because it's not a linear book.
I went, here you go. here's the order I roughly think things should go in. And they went, alas not. It should go like this. HarperCollins, they know what they want.
Well, it's like they've been doing this for a while.
They're pretty good. Well, yeah, when HarperCollins tells you something, you don't really go, I disagree.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
That's fair.
I think it's a very good book.
I'm glad that you think the audiobooks worked out.
And hey, dickhead, dickface. Oh my god. Hey, stupid piece of crap asshole. Remember you made fun of me for being first in sports humor, which is a made-up category.
Yes. Yeah. Have you been overtaken?
On Amazon, I'm still number 1 in sports humor.
Oh, that's great.
Hell yeah.
You and 2 other
Nice.
books.
I'm number
Him in
1.
his first book.
I'm number 1 in hockey books.
Hey,
That's
good. That's good.
Number 1 in winter sports.
Oh.
And
You beat out that skiing book?
I can't believe that.
No.
and number 70
The skiing and shooting book?
that's very popular. I'm number 70 in books
Oh, no way.
on Canadian Amazon.
Wow.
And you look, I was like, damn, what are the 69 books ahead of me? And a lot of them are coloring books.
Oh, that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
Miss Rachel, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
That's
Hey.
really 70 in total books in Canada? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Shut your,
Hey, shout out to everybody
shut
in
your
the Vault one.
fucking
Thank
mouth.
you. Thank you.
I mean, yeah, thank you.
That's great. Is that it?
That's it.
That's it for the
That's
press
it.
conference?
Jesse's like, that's enough
Oh,
promo.
Mario got back to me.
What do you say?
Oh my gosh.
Pause the extra.
He says, I can't confirm it, but they didn't tell us at the unveiling. I've heard $42.
$42 for the
America!
Yeah.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.